It is 7 o'clock, so I will go ahead and call to order the Scotland County Board of Commissioners Monday, April 5th, 2021 meeting. And I will offer an invocation. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, please be with us tonight as the elected officials of Scotland County as we conduct the business for our citizens that we serve. Let us always be judicious in our actions, fair in our decisions, and mindful that our appointment to this board is through the will of the people. We pray all these things in your name. Amen. We'll have the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, we now have our public forum. Who is here to speak?
I don't have anybody signed up.
So there's no one here to speak in the public forum. Okay. Next is our consent agenda. We need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Our next item is our economic development item, and we have a public hearing. So I need to know if there's anyone here to speak for the public hearing.
On the economic development.
I can hear you.
On economic development,
Public hearing on economic development.
or on the incentive.
So, Mr. Ward.
American Wood Fibers was announced to be the Twin Rivers project. They committed to create 51 new jobs, invest $19.5 million. And with that, they were awarded a 1NC grant through the state of North Carolina. The 1NC grant basically says that we will give you X number of dollars based on the jobs that you created. They can apply for a percentage of the grant as they meet the job thresholds. So you will receive that package in there. We will basically be a pass-through. The client will apply to us. They will provide their NC1, NCUI 101 form showing how many jobs that they have at that quarter. We will send that to the state. The state will send us the portion of the funds that they've got or the percentage, and then we will in turn give it to the client. I will state that the document you have had an issue on it, and I contacted NC Commerce today to confirm that. And I'm gonna read you the email that I put to them, and I have, Kevin has a copy of this, and Jason will as well for the file. But I said to Kenny Stagg, who's over the 1NC grant, said, thank you for speaking with me today. To recap our conversation, due to COVID restrictions and public notice requirements, Scotland County was not able to have a meeting and approve Project Twin Rivers Incentive Agreement before March 12th. Please confirm by reply to this email that the grant is still approved pending the Scotland County Commissioners approve and sign the grant agreement on April 5th and electronically sign on April 16th. The document that you have for their performance agreement said that we had to send the documents into the state by March 12th. So since we weren't able to do that, I didn't want to approve this and there'd be an issue. So he replies back, thanks for reaching out and explaining the county situation. Due to COVID restrictions preventing the county from having a meeting, the grant is still approved pending. Scotland County Commissioners approve, sign, and return to the Department of Commerce electronically by April 6th. So we have a document from Kenny Stagg, who is the program manager from 1NC, North Carolina Department of Commerce, stating that if y'all approve it tonight, that the grant will still be awarded to the client.
When you read what you were reading to start with, you said the commissioners would approve it on the 5th and it would be electronically signed on the 16th.
On the 6th.
You meant the 6th.
Yeah, if I said the 6th, I'm sorry, April the 6th.
The second time you did say the 6th.
Okay, yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, anybody have any questions for Mark about that?
The only thing I've got, Mark, is on that terms of the grant, it says target jobs 51, which is what's there, but then it says required 46.
They're allowed
So
to
they're
have a
going
percentage
more than
less.
Okay.
51 is the number to be at 100%, but all state grants have a percentage less than.
I just,
And it's got a 10% buffer between, for that and the investment as well. I
That
think.
is correct, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know that I knew that before. And are they getting to count the jobs that were already there because it's basically a new company?
That 51 is creation of new jobs. The state would not allow them to count the employees that were already there. So we're gonna have to get a benchmark from them
As
to
to
say,
what they
how many
started.
did you hire day one? What did you create at the other?
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on this issue for Mark?
I'm sorry, did you establish that there was nobody here to
Speak for.
to speak for or against?
I did.
Well, I'll speak for it.
Oh, yeah, Mark is here to speak for it, okay. So, you just need action from us to go forward, so,
Yes, you will have to approve it, and then they will have to authorize you to sign the grant agreement and the performance agreement.
can we do that in one action, or do you want separate?
You could do that as a joint action since
Joint
it's to
action,
the same
okay.
company.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Golson, second by Commissioner Gibson. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
The other item in there is the county incentive package.
Yeah.
If the board would like to go ahead and approve that as well.
Yeah, so we had public forum for Twin Rivers, and since Twin Rivers was getting a 1NC grant and the county grant, we were able to do both at the same time. So you have in your package the incentive grant that we use, the matrix that we have always been able to provide the client, saying that based on your number of jobs, based on your investment, this is what we will give back to you as a tax grant once you hit your thresholds. They have a certain length of time to hit those thresholds, and we always tell the client, it is in their best interest not to apply for the incentive until they've done all their job creation and all their investments. Because if they do if they request an incentive this August, then it's going to be based on their current tax bill. So the more they pay, the higher percentage the grant that they get back. But it is a percent amount. And you have that in your package. Year 1 is 90, year 2 is 90, year 3 is 80, year 4 is 70, and year 5 is 60% of the tax they pay. Property tax they pay, they will be granted a grant back for that. The city of Laurinburg approved their incentive package at their meeting this month. So we have documents prepared to send them for the city, and we would like to do yours at the same time.
so they don't get that buffer on the county side.
No, they do not.
Any questions?
I move we approve the county incentive.
Second.
Do you have a second? No. Motion from Whit, second from Tim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, now we're gonna have an economic development update from our economic developer.
Well, I didn't know if they were doing somebody else's first before me. So I did a little PowerPoint presentation for you just to kind of see, and I'll read some of it. But I'm gonna stay far back enough from y'all, but I want to take this off so you can hear me so I don't sound muffled. But something that I haven't really done before, and I don't think y'all seen, is new construction. For the first time, and I can remember when, and I'm gonna be 50 years old this year, Scotland County has had 39 new residential construction permits since November. That is not a remodel. That is not me building a shed. That is 39 new homes, construction permits being constructed here in Scotland County. 9 new commercial construction permits. The construction permits, some of those are adding on to their property. They are, some of that is the hospital that we don't get taxed on, but it's still investment in our community. So since November, we have had 48 new construction permits for about $12.3 million. Well, y'all do the math. That's $123,000 theoretically, that could be $123,000 additional revenue for the county. Now, of course, you have to take out the hospital, you would have to take out Scotia there and there. And those dollar amounts and permits does not include NSG, LOF, Pinkerton Glass, that announced they're doing a major expansion. And that also does not include the $18.5 million that American Wood Fibers said they're doing. So even during the pandemic, you can see that there's still a lot of activity and Scotland County is growing. I mean, I haven't seen 39 new homes being under construction since early 90s, mid 80s. So I think we're on a really good uptrend. A lot of people are moving. A lot of those are people moving into the county. And a lot of those are people that were already in the county, sold their home and is building a new home. So it's a little bit of both. There are some people moving out, but for us to have 39 new construction homes is a huge win for us. The next slide we'll go to. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update about project list. This is what I report to Scotland County Economic Development Corporation on a monthly basis. What I do is we have project names, and I tell them the number of jobs that company is going to do. What are the company looking for? That 325 is they're looking for 325,000 square feet, 50,000 square feet, 25 acres, 14 acres. That's what the client's looking for. The next one, of course, is the investment they're saying they're going to come into, the debt created. That's when I submitted a site to be considered. And then the site recommended. I mean, those are the sites. The incubator park is the site behind FCC and the water tower on 401. The Laurinburg Scotland Park is the site on 501 that we purchased from ZV Pape a few years back. The Scotland Industrial Park is the land across from Cascades that we received from them. Laurinburg Maxon Airport is LMAC. And then Walker Farms. Walker Farms is a list of some land that is on the other side of Ray Magnet Wire. And as you can see, I mean, that is the well that everybody would want. I mean, that's 1,200 jobs over a 10-year period and $1.2 billion. I mean, it's a huge, but there's only 2 sites in North Carolina that qualified for it. Us and then a site in near Wilmington. They asked for a 50-mile radius of number of people living and workforce. 30 miles from that site in Wilmington is the ocean. So we have a larger population that we can draw from. And when I did the numbers, we were about 150,000 more population than they were. But, site to site, I can't say, who knows, but just wanted to give you an update. That's what I present to the board. I also wanted to give you a little bit, let me back up there one more time, Kevin. Wanted to give you a little bit of update. We get projects from EDP&C, which is Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, and they funnel project requests to us through North Carolina Southeast. Since June of 2020, there have been 55 projects that have been submitted out that I could apply for or see if we qualify for. Out of that 55, 45 of them wanted a building. I was knocked out of 45 of them, almost right off the bat. Didn't qualify for it. Don't have the buildings. Or we had a building. We only have one building. Technically, we have 2. We have 2 buildings in the county right now available. We have Laurinburg Maxon Airport's 40,000 square foot building. And we have the, actually 3 now. We have the Woodard facility building that's at the airport. And we have the old Manus construction facility, Manus Homes, used to be Crestline Homes at the airport. Those are the only 3 true industrial buildings we have. There's one in Gibson, but there's no natural gas. There we go. So the next slide is the Laurinburg Scotland Industrial Park. This is where we purchased from Pates several years ago on 501, has rail access, and we had some drawings done. The city of Laurinburg had this certified as a smart site. Smart site means that they've done some geotechnical, they've done some archaeological, they've done historic data on it. And they said, this is what the property could look like if you want to do it. The little building at the top to the left, that little yellow, in between the 2 yellow lines, that little orangish building, that is 3 acres of land that we've agreed to give to the city of Laurinburg for the fire station. That will enhance this park to make this park have fire suppression on site. In exchange for doing that, the city of Laurinburg is going to construct the road just beyond that property line for entrance to the park. So they're making improvements. They've already ran power to the back of the property that they're going to be able to run to that building. We received a grant to have water and sewers already on the property and fibers on the property. So that is a site ready to go. The only thing you would have to do is some soil borings to find out what the soil's like, specifically for the weight of the building. The other reason I wanted to show you this one is the one right behind the fire station. That's roughly about 100,000 square feet, that square or that rectangle. Scotland County Economic Development Corporation is considering partnering with a for-profit company that goes out and recruits industry. They build the building, they own the building, they find a tenant for the building, they lease the building. We own the land. Scotland County Economic Development Corporation would then decide to either give the land in lieu of some economic development incentives or sell the land at fair market value. That's a decision that we'll make at that time. But someone is going to, what our hope is that we're going to partner with them. They're going to build the building. We'll have nothing in it. They'll pay for all the infrastructure. They'll do everything there. And it'll be a building that they will lease and try and have another tenant. There is some other plans also. The largest size building that could go on that property down at the bottom where you see the 4 oranges buildings at, is about 900,000 square feet. We do market that. It has 180 truck bays at 900,000 square feet. So it would be a logistics center that has rail access. Once again, those are pies in the skies. You love to be able to have it. You love to be able to say you can get it. But, it's also good to have 4 separate companies, each housing 50 to 100 employees. You got 400 employees versus one facility that has 400 employees. It's either or. It's whatever you can get. But that's just to show you an idea of what we're looking at to do to develop inventory. For us to be able to attract those companies, we've got to have buildings. So the next slide, wanted to give you
Can I ask you this?
Yep,
before we
back
get
up
off of
there,
that?
Kevin.
How is the city gonna address that fire station? Are they gonna
Satellite annex,
Okay.
spot annex.
So they're not.
Since they own the property, they can do that.
They won't take everything in between.
They cannot. It's illegal for them to take anything in between. They have to voluntarily annex themselves into it. We will make the decision once we construct it and do things, whether or not we want that part in the city limits, or do we want to pay at a city water rates. And to be honest with you, it really depends to the client that wants to go in there. The city, right now, it's Duke Energy and the city of Laurinburg, customer choice. The city of Laurinburg has power already on the site. Duke Energy has it on 501. So it's whichever is going to be able to provide the best need for the client.
Mark, would you tell me again where that's located?
Mixed Pickwick is down there at the very bottom.
The one on 401,
501, going towards Aberdeen.
going
You're on
towards
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen. Now I'm
Philip
in the right
McCray's house.
place.
Philip McCray's house is two parcels up above that you can barely see.
I don't know Philip McCray's house. but
You know where
anyway.
the trucking company is? Paul's Recapping?
Oh, yes, I know exactly.
Go by Paul's Recapping. The next field you see on the right, that's that big field back there.
Okay, all right, thank you a lot.
Yes, ma'am. The next slide, I wanted to give
I'm
you
sorry, Mark, you said, did you go back, did you say 900,000 square feet?
900,000 square feet. It would fit basically at the bottom. It's tight. I'll pull the map up.
You're
later.
saying instead of doing the 4 buildings, you could build 1 building for
That is correct. It would only have one building back down there. That's correct.
And these are roughly
Those are about 125 to 100,000 square feet to 125,000 square feet
each.
each.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Right. Okay, this is the incubator park. This is where Carmichael Farms is located. If you look at the bottom right, beside that little the circle of the water, you'll see a building that's kind of darkened. Yep, right there. That's where Carmichael Farms is now. The semicircle road is already in place. We originally wanted to put the 50,000 square foot building at the very back, where you see the other 2 buildings at. Soil conditions really didn't work the way we wanted them to or thought they could. So what we did is when we had the soil company, site engineering, they said the best place to put the 50,000 square foot building is almost at the inside the semicircle where the Carmichael Farms property is at. So we're going to construct the 50,000 square foot building at that location in the center. Kevin, you probably show them it. Yep, right there. And it'll be expandable by another 50,000 square feet coming down. That serves two purposes. The road that will go into that building for the heavy access will eventually be the road to give you access to the back acreage up against the railroad tracks. So we're constructing a heavy access road for that building, but that road will then be also access to the other building. All that is just speculative on the rest of it, but the 50,000 square foot building, we did receive the $2 million EDA grant that has already started work on. It's roughly, we think it's gonna be about a $3 million building. Of course, with the cost of everything going up, we're really scared to see what that's gonna be in June. But EDA will allow us to do a little bit of scale back, and, you know, we don't wanna do a spec building or a building that we'll put different things in later. We want a turnkey building. So that's what we're gonna look at on that.
Trying to get the perspective right. Where's 401?
401 is to your right.
That's it, and then that's your old office, right?
My old, that's right, yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct. The site that we just looked at, go over to the top left, Kevin. A little bit more, right there. That is the site you just saw a while ago,
On the others.
on the other side of the railroad track.
Okay.
McFarland Road is up there where that X is. So that's
Yeah.
McFarland.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Y'all have the FCC is about where his pointer is right now. That's where a little bit down, right there. That's where FCC is located.
Okay.
Actually, coming down a little bit more, Kevin. It's actually right, a little bit down, right there. That's where FCC is located.
Okay.
All right. That's really what I've got to tell you. I mean, activity is picking up a little bit. You know, when COVID hit, March till June really dropped off. There wasn't a lot of activity. Companies still did some work, but they were really scared to do some stuff, and then they didn't know what their employees were going to do. But then you saw August, September, October. We had several good announcements in October and November, and we still have some existing industries that are looking to expand and capitalize on the increased volume that they're seeing as well.
Mark, what is our unemployment rate now?
It'll come out in about 4 or 5 more days, but we're still the highest in the state. We're about 10.6, 10.7, I think was the last number I saw. And I've looked at it and studied it, and I can't wrap my hands around it. If you go back to 1984, if the state was here, Scotland County was here. If the state was here, Scotland County was here. They've always mirrored imaged each other, but it's been that way always. But I can tell you,
What's the state then?
the state is below 6% right now. They reported their numbers a few days ago.
Okay.
It is a mystery as far as I'm concerned. The differential that has remained
Well,
stable for 25 years.
Yeah, well, we're having more retail establishments created, and that's one other thing. I don't think y'all got a slide on. But since in the past 12 months, this inside the city limits of Laurinburg has had more chain business retail than they've had in 5 years, establishments. Those aren't high, great paying jobs, but they're starter jobs, or they're jobs for a teenager, or they're jobs for my son, or your son, or daughter, or somebody, or somebody's wife or a husband. But you know, we are becoming to have a little bit more retail business, and retail brings sales tax, and sales tax is a good thing for the county. Chick-fil-A was #1 in the Southeast the first month they opened up. Dunkin' Donuts was #5 in the Southeast in Scotland County, and Smithfield's remains in the top 10 in the Southeast of volume. So those 3 locations are one of the strongest in each of their franchises.
I heard that restaurant was #1 in the chain.
Smithfield,
Yeah.
in the chain might be.
Yeah.
I don't have those numbers.
I think if people got tired of traveling, everybody get Chick-fil-A. I think Chick-fil-A was the best thing ever happened to Scotland County, even though I never been to it. You haven't either?
Well, when I first got the job, somebody said, you need to get some Chick-fil-A. I said, they'll never come. I was wrong, and I eat my words. But 74 is driving that, y'all. 74 is a big plus for Scotland County. And you're going to continue to see more businesses and industries want to locate near and around 74.
Good news then.
Good report, Mark. Anybody else have any questions or comments for Mark? Thank you. Very valuable. Okay. Next, we have a zoning, and we will hear first, from Mr. Cribb, and then we will, have our public hearing.
We have one
How that goes?
application for a conditional use permit.
Uh-huh.
The land is owned by Valerie Gay, and it's 401 North, right close to Lockridge Cabinet Shop. And the guy wants to build an outdoor kitchen. He's in the catering business. And he just outgrown where he's at. He wants to build a building where he can cook his food at. Nothing will be served there. Everything will go outside. There was no opposition.
Okay.
Did you say it was an outdoor kitchen?
Yeah,
So he's asking for rezoning from what to what, Mr. Cribb?
well, he's asking for a good conditional use permit.
Just a conditional use
Yeah.
permit, okay, for that one site?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
All
don't have that on the map, do you?
right, we did, I think we, yeah.
You have one in your packet.
It was in the, yeah.
Yeah, it was in the package.
Give me a second, I can pull it up.
It's all right. I got it here. It's,
This is BJ Gibson speaking. Mr. Cribb, did I understand you to say that there was no opposition that came before the zoning board to this project?
That's correct.
That is correct. I think it's back to 50, Kevin.
I mean, I've got it here. If you don't need, I got it.
It's in the package.
Well, this is just a little bit clearer if you're interested.
Okay. Did anyone speak for or against it at the zoning? meeting?
Yes, the architect spoke.
In the area is presently already zoned for,
I'm not sure what it's on.
because right across the street from, how many years
It's
ago,
probably
was
zone RA, I would imagine.
convenience stores.
There's, the property is actually zoned R1, if I might, and there's some highway commercial, kind of adjacent.
Mr. Cribb, that property is located right across from the Lockwood Cabinet place, correct?
Correct.
What did he say?
Speak up a little bit, Commissioner.
Yes, it's.
This property is right across from the Lockwood Cabinet
Correct.
on 401, correct?
directly.
It's right before you get to Lockridge Cabinet Shop.
It's
So
on
that's
the left.
Okay, on this map, Locklear's Cabinet Shop is about where that arrow is.
No, it's up on the left. See where it is on the left?
Yeah.
Right there.
That's
Okay.
Lost Cabinet Shop, okay.
And the property we're talking about is the red dot.
Where the red
Yes,
dot's
sir.
at.
Okay. Mhm. All right, any more questions for Mr. Cribb? All right, we'll now have the public hearing. Is there someone here, I think, to speak? in
Do I
favor?
speak on behalf? Yes.
Okay, you need to.
Left hand, raise your right hand, please. There you go. You swear to tell the truth and the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
You've been duly sworn.
Well, thank you for having us and thank you for waiting. So we're interested in a conditional use permit for the kitchen as mentioned at 21721 Wagram. What we want to do is build a not more than 1,500 square feet pre-engineered metal building to house a small commercial kitchen, some prep space and some storage space for Adrian's growing catering business, Manic Commercial Kitchens. We would locate the building at the back of the site. He's been currently growing out of the house, and he'd like to grow up, expand, and stay in Scotland County and here. So we want to put the building on the back of the site. There would be no road frontage signage and no real display. Because as Mr. Cribb mentioned, this is customers or really patrons or employees coming in for the most part. It's prepped to deliver foods and services off-site. The nature of the building or the architectural characteristics would be similar to the surrounding residential and highway commercial buildings. Will be a metal building. If there's any fencing or screening, it'll be of residential nature, and we'll provide the planting buffering per the zoning code.
And because it is a commercial kitchen, it'll be a commercial building permit. We'll have all health code permits, inspections, all that. We've done some feasibility, looking at the upgrading the infrastructure on the site, the septic and well. And it seems there's plenty of space, plenty of clearance as required by code in the state. So if we are granted conditional use application, that'll be our first step. I'd be glad to answer any more questions or fill any gaps.
So 1,500 square foot metal building, to the unknowing or the untrained, you wouldn't know it was a garage or you know what I mean? It's not gonna be.
Correct. It'd be similar to garages, storage buildings seen in the area, toward the back of the site.
Right.
What is the back of that property? What is the dimensions? I mean, for that, is there any sort of,
No, so we had, I don't know the exact dimension off the top of my head. There was plenty of room back there to have the building times 2 or 3, and then our septic behind the building, because of the slope to grade, the septic field would go in that very back area. So we'd be able to hold back our setback for the back of the property, you know, the appropriate septic clearances, and then have the building back there.
and then what about our own property to the south of that and to the east? And the deliveries, truck delivery, I mean, stuff like that. How, I mean, would there be signage up? I've got my driveway, and I've had Miss Gay as my neighbor, and I've had trucks, not a bunch of traffic, but I've had cars mistaking my driveway for hers and pull down. And I mean, my concern with deliveries and things like that is, I mean, I guess there would be signs there, deliveries, truck deliveries. I mean, I don't know how big of a.
Yeah, so we would make the address, we can make the address more pronounced if that's an issue. Did you want?
And most deliveries can be done between a set time. With food service, you have times between 11 to 2 or whatever's in their route to make sure that's there. So I don't think that if we have to do signage, we can, but as far as deliveries will be there, myself will be there to make sure that the driver and a relationship be built so they'll know every time a delivery is made, this is the correct, the address to deliver to the driveway to use this, that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a business, I get drivers all the time, but they're not my suppliers. I'm not talking about your people.
Yeah.
I mean, I get different guys that park outside the road in the highway.
Right.
And you know, but
Supplies will only come probably once a week, and that's depending upon when we place our order with our supplier. They'll make a delivery, which is on their route, and then that'll be basically it, minus UPS, FedEx, whatever. So.
how many employees, or I don't know. I mean, what do you?
Employees are usually there when it's required to work. If we are scheduled to do an event on Saturday, whatever the time our event is prior to the event, we have a lot of hours for staff to come. We have ample parking for all of that. Everybody in staff knows, where we are. So it wouldn't be a problem. So staff will only be there just for the duration of the event. 9 times out of 10, max hours for a regular event will probably be 5 hours. A work day may include, 8 to 12, depending upon the extent or the number of events we have that particular day.
Madam Chairman, I just want to include here, should we not be knowing, so Jason can properly record this on a public hearing as to who's speaking and.
Yeah, and whoever it is, we also need to make sure everybody is sworn in.
Yeah, just want to make sure we were
So
staying in line.
for the record, I know that our clerk swore you in. I have not heard your name.
I'm sorry. My name is John Arno. I'm an architect.
Okay, and you are speaking in favor of the hearing representing the people that have asked for the condition. You're heard.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
What we need, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the permit?
But I think
No
perhaps
here.
what Commissioner Ivy's asking is we've already heard from this gentleman, and I assume we may hear from Ms. Gay. If we want to go ahead and swear them in, and if Mr. Locklear intends to testify, we may need to swear him in as well.
We can do that.
Yeah, I'm just
Jason?
trying to keep the legality
It's
part.
probably, you're probably right. We want to swear them in. They've all spoke, well, I know you have spoken, you have not spoken, but yeah.
Thank you.
left hand and raise your right.
That's.
There you go. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Right? And there you go. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Exactly.
Left hand, raise your right.
There you go.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, we are all, everybody's sworn.
And Madam Chair, it might be helpful, I know it will be to me, if each of these three people will identify themselves.
Excuse me. I'm Valerie Gay. I'm Adrian's mother. That's my son.
I'm Adrian Gay, owner and operator of Manor Catering and Creation.
Kelly Locklear.
What was
Is
the name,
Valerie's name?
what was the name of your business?
Manor Catering and Creations?
Manna, M-A-N-N-A?
Yes, ma'am.
That's on something.
Okay. Okay, now that I apologize for not handling this as well as it should have been, but we're all identified and we are all up to date on what this conditional use permit is about. Do any of the commissioners have any more questions that they would like to pose before we take any more, before we take action?
Mine is more or less on a personal level. I know them basically half of my life, and Adrian was a pianist, organist at my church, so I have a very personal relationship, I guess, with them.
Well, that happens in small towns. We do have
Yes, it does.
relationships with people. So anyway, we are, so we've heard from so there's no one to speak against this permit from what I'm understanding. Are you?
I'm not speaking against it, but I would just like to know, and I don't know if this is the time and place, but you know, with the building, the lot, the back of the lot, I was doing some cleaning in the timber back there behind Miss Valerie's the other week, and she told me that she was gonna be proposing this, but will there be any type of, like I said, as far as being a commercial, if it wasn't commercial, we'd maybe not even be here, but, you know, and my house is back in the woods, and I'm just reluctant to, you know, people, you know, traffic, people seeing, my place. And I mean, like I said, this is commercial and this is her property, but would there be any type of fencing or anything like that? I mean, I don't know, is this,
So if I can, the zoning requirements do call for buffering and screening in form of planting to sort of obstruct the view of the building. And I think furthermore, the building is probably going to serve as fencing or screening for you from any access to the site, just because of where it's located. If you're behind their property, the building would be in the way, and we're probably not putting any windows in the back of the building to look your way. So I think you seeing the building, it'll be screened by planting. And if you're worried about people being to see into your property, I think the building the view further than what it might already be.
so no fencing is what you're saying? I mean,
No, there wasn't fencing planned right now.
You say a buffer though?
Yes.
Buffered meaning,
And the zoning code calls for planting to help obscure the view a little bit. So it wouldn't be fence, but some size bushes, small trees.
I'm sure the zoning board made their decision to approve this zoning.
Well, it wasn't required for conditional use. That's not a requirement for a condition. You gotta have no fencing.
All right, everyone satisfied with the information they've been given tonight?
I just have a question. Mr. Locklear, your cabin shop's on the other side of the road.
yeah, that's my father's place.
Okay.
Yeah.
But your residence is behind this property.
Yeah, my driveway is right next to Miss Valerie's. We share, you know, I mean, we don't share driveways, but they're right side by side. My property, you know, like I said, borders hers south and to the east.
All right, what's the pleasure?
I make a motion that we concur with planning and zoning board and grant them conditional use permit.
I think I heard you say you make the recommendation to approve what the zoning board has recommended. Okay.
Correct.
We have a motion from Commissioner McFadden.
I said,
We have a second from, any more discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion has carried. thank you all for being here. And I wish you well.
You don't have to stay if you don't.
Business venture.
You're welcome.
You get to the fun part.
You're welcome.
Good to see you. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
I know. Thank you all.
Yes, yes, sir.
I didn't recognize Kelly when he came in, but I recognized you.
All right, next on our agenda is a personnel update from Human Resource Manager Susan Sanders.
Good evening, it's good to see everybody. Are y'all okay with me just let us down a bit? Okay. I've been asked to report on kind of the progress that we've done since our, the Board of Commissioners retreat in February. And I just wanted to let you know that the recommendations, well, let me just start at the beginning, because we wanted in the recommendation, we wanted to let you know what we were currently doing. And with our NeoGov program that we have for applicant tracking, we are also signed into governmentjobs.com, which gives us nationwide coverage through NeoGov, and that is through our applicant tracking. Also, we do county email blasts. Anytime there's a position open, we send that out to all the employees. And of course, you all, since you have Scotland County email addresses, you all receive those as well. And we also have the website. That's where they go to apply on our careers button on our website, as well as the county Facebook page. When we do an email blast, Jason is seeing those and he's adding those to the Facebook page. And also we were with the Handshake website, and that is a site that pushes information out to students and alumni of different universities. So we were doing that with UNCP Appalachian and UNC Chapel Hill for our degree required positions. And we also post with NC Works and with Indeed. The health department uses Indeed, and the DSS uses the North Carolina DHHS website. And what we recommended is that we determined and found out that many of the historically Black universities were also in the program that Handshake offers. You just check and choose the universities that you want to push a job out to. So we did add several of the HBUs, which is Elizabeth City State University, Fayetteville State, Johnson C. Smith University, Livingstone College, and North Carolina A&T, as well as NC Central. So anytime we have a degree required position, then we would send it out through Handshake to these universities. And also, I've been so pleased with the feedback that I've gotten from the local organizations, the sororities. They were just so enthused, and they were very excited to be a part of this. So I hope to meet these people in person, because they were just so excited about being able to do this. And we did a distribution list, and we added their emails. We reached out to every individual to make sure that they were on board with that. And they were just really excited that they had an opportunity to send these out. And the sororities that we have on our list are Alpha Kappa Alpha, and Delta Sigma Theta, Zeta Phi Beta. And we also reached out to Dorothy Tyson, who is with WLNC and a community leader, as well as Ms. Essie Davis, which is with WeWo, and she's also a community leader. And Mr. Herman Tyson, president of the NAACP. And we also have 2 contacts with Richmond Community College, Lori McLaughlin and Patsy Stanley. So we developed that list, and anytime there's an email blast, we just forward that directly to that list. And I've gotten some feedback saying thank you. They appreciated us sending these. And I have a list of the recruitment announcements that we've done since then. Are y'all interested in hearing that list? That's the list there that is on the slide.
That's the ones you've emailed to.
Yes, sir. And of course, they are available on our website, Facebook, as well as using that distribution list for the local organizations. And I would ask that if you find out other organizations that you think would like to be on that distribution list. I would love to add them. I will reach out to them. But the ones that I did reach out to, they were very on board with that and very excited to be a part of it. And that's really all I have. Of course, it's only been a month. And if you wanted us to drill down and get you more information, I'll be glad to do that. Or if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Well, I'm glad to see this, Susan. I think that, it shows that.
Well, you jumped right on it and got busy, so.
Yeah, you got right
You
on
really did.
it.
And I'm glad for the positive response, at least. It makes it feel like it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I was very encouraged.
Yeah.
When just such a positive feedback.
Good, okay. Anybody have any more comments? Is there any, maybe we could just have you maybe come back in 3 months to give us an update
Okay.
of what kind of response you're getting, if we're getting more applications as a result of your efforts. Just maybe a quarterly update to keep us up to speed.
Okay, we'll do that.
Does that
And
sound
one
all right?
thing I might mention that we realized during this that we really didn't have a question on our application saying what their referral source was.
Yeah.
So we're going to add that.
Good.
So we're going to see if this is being effective, if we are getting some applications from some of these universities and these resources.
That
So
way you can track your own efforts. I think
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
great. Thank you.
I'm excited about the involvement of the university.
Job well done. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, Cal, we're gonna have child abuse prevention month. Ms. Sneed, are you with us?
I'm here. I hope everyone can hear me. Good evening, good Monday.
Good evening.
Very, very quickly, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and so our Child Protective Services, in a non-COVID world, we typically try to go out and do a lot of education in the community with the school system. This year is a little different. This year, our education will be more through our online presence, PSAs, and we've also partnered with Parks and Recreation at their movie night for our staff to be out there and hand out some information about not so much preventing child abuse, but how to deal with the stressors of parenting, coping skills, positive parenting tips, to get as much information out that way as we can. And so just wanted to give a little plug for those social workers again and recognize that it is a federally recognized month to work on child abuse prevention.
Well, tell me this, April, say in the communities, you see you feel like it's a child abuse going on whether it's cursing your children or doing, hollering or things that you think is kind of not in the best interest of the child. Can you report it just to you, or how do you go about reporting it?
Yes, ma'am. Anyone that recognizes what they feel is abuse or neglect should contact the Department of Social Services, of course. We have an intake worker at all times at the department, and if that's after 5 o'clock, they can contact 911, and that will get them in touch with our on-call social workers. So we are on call 24/7 to respond to reports.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and like Ms. Sneed said, it is a federally recognized month. And I think, April, you'd like for me to read the proclamation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I thought that might go over better than me being virtual.
Okay. In recognition of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month, whereas children are vital to our state and county's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets, and whereas all children deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities they need to foster their healthy growth and development, and whereas child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility affecting both the current and the future quality of life of a community, and whereas communities that provide parents with the social support, knowledge of parenting and child development, and concrete resources they need to cope with stress and nurture their children, ensure all children grow to their full potential, and whereas effective child abuse prevention strategies, succeed because of partnerships created among citizens, human service agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Scotland County Board of Commissioners that April 2021 is Child Abuse Prevention Month in Scotland County, and urge all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, elected leaders, and businesses to increase their participation in efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live, adopted this 5th day of April 2021. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you all so much.
All right.
Thank you, April.
Yes, sir.
Have we lost Mr. Gibson? I didn't see
Okay,
him.
we're gonna skip foreclosed properties and do Laurel Hill Community Center.
No, I think I just skipped it on the slides.
Okay.
You gonna skip what? Foreclosed property?
Foreclosed properties, yeah.
No, it's on here, I just hit it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Commissioner BJ Gibson, are you still with us?
He is not unless he is the telephone number.
Okay.
He said he might have to scoot out at around 7:45.
Oh,
Seeing that we have a lot of foreclosed properties, how often do we do this? Is it once a year, twice a year, what?
We bring them to the board, once a year, well, generally once a year, but actually I expect to bring another batch next month. And some of it depends on when they go through foreclosure. You have 25 properties, they were already introduced to you last month. They were also sent to the city of Laurinburg, because some of them are inside the city of Laurinburg, so they were foreclosed jointly. So the city had to surplus them as well. So what we're doing is we'll surplus these, and then we will work with the company we've used before as Iron Horse Auctions, and we'll just do a public auction with them. There is, right now, we expect to have another batch of approximately 20 properties foreclosed on the end of April. They will be auctioned off. If a property is foreclosed on after judgment, at that point in time, we literally auction, or the attorney literally auctions them off on the courthouse step. And after that, there's 10 days in which somebody can bid against the county's offer, which is taxes and fees.
COVID-19 has not had an input in these foreclosures, has it?
No, other than it's slowed down court proceedings. But they've not changed this, and it's like in the least. And
No,
one
I'm
thing about
saying, do you think that, well, that the people that are property that is being foreclosed had 3 years, right? Is it 3 years?
It's 3 years. We generally do not foreclose on anybody until they are delinquent for 3 years.
3 years, okay. So nobody really just say, hey, look, I couldn't pay because I lost my job from the COVID-19 or nothing like that.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, that's.
Yeah. And also, if somebody has had issues where they've lost their job or something, we're more than happy to set up tax payments with people. So if anybody is in a situation where they're not going to be on this list, but if there is somebody out there, advise them to come in, sit down and talk with them. And basically we'll come up with a plan where they kind of pay it off over a year.
Yes.
Or start getting in better shape.
We make announcements in public gatherings, reminding people that, that if you are having problems with your paying your taxes on your property, go to the tax office and make arrangements to pay a little bit at a time. And I think it's good that we're saying this tonight so people can hear that, because we're getting ready to face a new tax year, right?
Yes. Yep. Yes, that we are. And with this, the vast majority of properties that we wound up foreclosing on are abandoned properties. A lot of them are tied up. The original owner passed away. They have relatives who do not live here, so basically the property is abandoned. So that's the vast majority of the foreclosures. It's not a situation where we're sending the sheriff's department to remove somebody from their property.
There's no evictions involved in this.
I'm not aware of any yet.
Yeah, a lot of communities, I know mine has a lot of should be condemned houses.
And also with this, one thing I will say is after we get this list and after we get past the 10-day period on the next list, we're gonna take these and we're gonna send somebody out to each of these homes. If there's a structure on the property and look to see, we've had some properties that we went in and sent public works into and demolished any structures that were on it and sold just open land, because you're gonna have some properties that have a house on it that is in such bad shape, the community is better off
Without it, yeah,
selling the land raw.
I agree.
So this is information for us?
Actually, asking that you approve the list that's in your packet for surplus.
Okay, you want approval of this particular batch?
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The motion has carried.
Okay. Laurel Hill Community Center, got information from the architect. They are, the last thing on the design packet to go out is the septic system. Later on, we started exploring the septic system and decided to go off and design a new one to go with it because we had no plans and could not find any plans on the old one. So it was either that or put a lift station in and run a sewer line about a mile. So that's the last thing, and they expect to have complete documents ready by April 15th.
Okay.
So still starting June.
That would still be the goal. So we'd have, as soon as that comes back in, we'll get the bid project. As soon as that bid comes out, we'll get it back to the board in the month of May.
Well, nothing to do with Laurel Hill, but the Wagram Rec Center air conditioning, has that began or?
I know we sent bids out, and I don't remember approving any specific bids on them yet. So I'll have to verify exactly where that is, but I know we had plans to send out to getting the competition or get some formal bids on. So I
would like to see that done by summer, so.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
verify that, just blast us all an
I
email to
will.
keep us up to date on that.
But I also had an interesting conversation with Representative Pierce about that topic, and I didn't bring it up. He said he had submitted money in the state budget this year for an air conditioning.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
Really?
He told me that on the phone the other day, and he may have said it in the news. I hadn't heard that
I don't
already.
know, I think it,
But
But we need to find out, but we can save
he's
some
done it,
money.
but of course, that may pass, may not pass, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
He had a budget now for 2 years, so.
Right.
It may not.
Yeah, they're not,
I
yeah.
don't think we wait on that, but.
No,
No,
but it might be if it's a direct allocation, it would be allowable for a reimbursement. I would imagine.
I mean, we've already taken action to do it and pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, so.
and I agree with him, I think we need to, it'd be good to have it in there. I mean, hot weather's getting here already.
Okay. All right, Miss Betty, you're up for boards and committee appointments.
Okay, because Bob Davis has not resigned the ABC board yet, we're gonna delay it to our next meeting. We have the, reappointment of, Ida Gill to the jury commission. And I move that we appoint her for that position.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for appointment of the jury commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay,
Next, we get planning and zoning board. Now, we have a reappointment request for Sam Greer, Jim McMillan, Cleo Graham, Daniel Dockery, and Walter Curry is at large. He has resigned. So we can vote on one of the new requests, which were John Easterling, Jim Smith, or Herman Tyson.
so just to repeat, we have one vacancy and 3 applications.
And also with that, I do believe Daniel Dockery, for whatever reason, has had a number of issues that have kept him from attending regularly.
Yeah, it's awkward to say, Mr. Dockery, to my knowledge, and I think Jason can verify, has not attended a meeting since 2018. So I am reluctant for this board to take the responsibility to reappoint someone to a board when they have not been able to fulfill their duties to the board. And that we do have the option of, it's up to us as to whether or not we want to reappoint. And then we do have the one vacancy that Mr. Curry has created. So we have to make one appointment.
So that would be 2 appointments. That would be 2 appointments and 2 reappointments. Am I figuring that?
Yeah.
Three reappointments.
Three.
Yes, 1, 2, 1, 2,
No, we
3,
have 2.
4. There'll be 3, well, Daniel makes 1, 2, 3, 4. He made the 4th, and Walter Curry is resigning. Yeah, it'll be 3.
There are 5 appointments available in total.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, were you getting ready to make?
No, I was just trying to get in my mind the right number.
Trying to get the numbers.
It's
right.
1 or 2. If we eliminate Daniel Dockery from his past record, it'll be 2 appointments.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, I would make the motion that we reappoint Sam Cribb, Cleo Graham, and Jim McMillan. That we appoint Herman Tyson to replace Daniel Dockery, and Jim Smith to take the position from the gentleman who requested not to be reappointed.
Walter
Curry.
Curry. It's Walter Curry.
Well, I want to make a little change there. I want to put John Eastland in one of those spots. Because I know he's a young man.
Well,
How do we handle that?
What you mean?
That's a motion.
Was that a motion?
That was a motion.
Whit has made a motion, so we need a second.
I second.
Okay. We have is there any discussion?
Yeah, my discussion.
Okay.
I want to make a discussion that we need to, instead of John Easton's a young black man that's coming up, and I don't want to discourage him. He needs some of these opportunities. All these guys on here have been on and reappointed. So we need to start looking at that way instead of just always putting our friends in positions.
I'm not friends
I
necessarily.
don't know. I don't know. That's not my problem. But I'm just saying that we need to give young people opportunities. And we're not doing that with this board.
Well, Mr. Easterling is currently working for a law firm who's filed a lawsuit against us.
That's not him though. That's the law firm. That ain't got nothing to do with him.
He draws a salary from a law firm that's been in litigation against us for 18 months.
He was advocating for that lawsuit.
And
Very
he-
much
And
advocating
and
for.
I don't have a problem with John Easterling.
I like
would
John
to see
Easterling.
him. I think right now.
Well,
it's
why
not
you
the
give him a
time.
chance then? Y'all don't give him a chance. So you say you like him, but you.
I like
you
him,
say
but
fake.
no, I think they are.
Vote on it then. Go ahead.
Let's vote on it.
We'll vote on it.
Commissioner Patter, if I can, I just want to make a statement. I'm in total agreement with you. I've said this a number of times, and as a young person in our community, I think not giving Mr. Eastland an opportunity, besides his working conditions, we can't hold against him his employment. It could be either one of us working for an agency who may have a litigation against us as well. I'm very reluctant to not offer that opportunity to him. because we have to give opportunities to our young people who are up and coming and not deter them from wanting to serve, just because another opportunity doing by work has been given to them. So I share with you totally, Mr. McFadden.
Thank you.
Okay, we've had our discussion. I too support any young person that wants to become civically engaged in our community. There's no question about that. And I certainly support bringing new, young or old people in and diversity. My issue does remain that the law firm that employs Mr. Easterlin, it is over a zoning issue. It is not over some issue that's not relevant to serving on this board. And that is my only concern. It is not a concern about Mr. Easterlin as a young person bringing his youth to us. It is about his employment for a law firm that is in litigation against the county. I just want to be really clear on that. I don't want anyone to think that there is anything in my remarks that are negative against Mr. Easterlin, the individual. So we have had a discussion. So any more comments? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Okay, so the vote is 4-2 in favor of the motion.
Okay, the next one, we have appointment to the Southeastern Economic Development Commission. Mr. Clarence McFadden has agreed to be on that.
I take it back. I don't want to be on. I don't want to be on. Pull my name out. I don't want to be on.
Well, you can table it for next one.
We'll table it.
Well, I don't want to be on it.
No, I mean,
I
we'll
pull my
table
name
it, so
away.
we have to now find someone else
Well,
to
find somebody
replace you
else.
because you said you want to be on it.
Yeah,
So
but I
now
don't
we
want
got
to.
to replace it.
I don't want to.
Okay,
I would nominate, because I think that requires an elected official.
yes.
Who's also on it?
If Commissioner Gibson, BJ Gibson, would like to accept that position, I guess he's still here.
What about
I
Mr.
will accept it only if, I will accept it only if Mr. McFadden does not want it. I would much rather he
I don't
serve,
want it,
but if
really.
he is not willing, I will.
I'm not willing.
Okay. Is that a motion, Tim?
Yes, then that's my motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Commissioner BJ Gibson to the Southeastern
Economic Development.
Economic Development Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Do we also need to reappoint those other?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, and we need to reappoint John Ferguson, Mark Ward, and Chris English to the Southeast Economic Board. And so, the Southeastern Economic Development Commission, we need to reappoint those three individuals. And I move that we appoint them.
Okay, so you've made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Or we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Okay, the last one is the Board of Equalization and Review. Reappointment, I move that we reappoint Henry Bird to the Board of Equalization and Review. And also Alex Tyson is a new appointee, has applied for that appointment. So I'll make a motion that we accept Henry Bird and Alex Tyson for the Board of Equalization and Review.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Betty, thank you. That was a lot.
Well, we got a lot of appointments
We
there.
did, okay. Okay, Mr. Eli, Mr. Caldwell, are you with us?
Yes.
All right, we'll take our, we're ready for our COVID-19 update.
Good evening. This is just an update that we do have on the screen here, and I'm just going to run through very quick. We have total number of cases that we are seeing, and we have total number of people that we covered. That is 3,508 over there, and the total number of deaths and active cases for the 1 And currently, that is telling us that we have moved we are currently moving in the right directions, but we are not there yet. The impact of COVID in the county is now in the moderate. What does that mean? Okay, thank you for sharing that. That's the one I was going to ask for. So this is very important. This is a trend I was looking at. This is a COVID-19 update for 7 days. So we have made some significant progress. What it's telling us in the map here is the yellow here, the county has made significant progress to move from substantial, which was orange, to yellow, which is now moderate impact. So, and one of the things I really wanted to point out is the graph here, because when we, as a health department, we set a target for the vaccine, in the county. We set a target for 60%. And one of the things that we have been seeing now in the county is the number of population that are 65 years and older have now received almost 56.1% of the vaccine. So this is encouraging. This is where we want to be. But like I said, we are not there yet, because if you see the number of population who are 18 years and older, still have 20.7% of the vaccine. So my goal for the health department here is to see the number to go up. As that number go up, because if that number can go up to 40% to 50%, that means that the county can at least get into what I'm looking at here in the blue. That can be a low rate of transmission. So right now we're not doing terrible. What I can say is we still have to be cautious. Looking at this data here, we still have to take all public health measures to be able to move into the blue, because that's where I want the county to be. The blue is a low impact. If we can move to this blue, that'll be very significant to opening the county up, because as more people get a vaccine, that'll be a very critical point for us. But as of now, we are moving in the right direction, but we are not there yet until we can see how far the country is going to go into that blue, and that's where I want to be. But it is encouraging, because those who are 65 years and older, as that are showing us, are much more vulnerable to the virus. But and they're getting the vaccine, so it means that the word is getting out. People are getting people are receiving the message about the vaccine, and they're taking it, and that's very important, and that's what I'm seeing, and that's a good sign. I will encourage people to take the vaccine, and I will encourage people to still take all the measures that are necessary, that until we can move to that blue, that's where I want to. That's all I have, and thank you very much.
I don't understand the chart. You say the red is representing the hires. I don't see no, in the yellow. I mean, explain that to me, Kevin.
Your red are your highest areas. You have, your amount of infections per 100,000 people. So you have your red as your highest infection rate, and also they look at your hospitalization rate. Those are the two factors. Then you go into your oranges and then yellows. But I think this is primarily looking, because our infection rate right now, we have 21 active cases, which is better than we've been since
forever,
July of last year.
Yeah.
So because we've got those infection rates down, that's why we're finally in that. Now, 21 means if you look at it, we now have 60 people per 100,000. So we're down, but the White House has said we want 100 people per 100,000. So we're down beneath that, which allows us to get into that into the yellow categories. So as long as we continue that trend, and also we're at a higher, of course, the 56% at 65 and over, And it's been a push to get there. 18 years and older are at 20%. And a lot of that is going to be still going to be your healthcare workers, those people who are in tier 1. And now a lot of your teachers are in preschool workers are in that group, because now a lot of your 18 and over are just becoming eligible within the last 2 weeks. So it's slowing in there.
And when it's saying vaccinated, it is either the Johnson & Johnson shot or have had both of the other.
I think, I don't know if that's at least one shot. No, that's fully vaccinated. So yes, it's the
So that's-
Johnson & Johnson or both shots.
So
Do we do
most of the
Johnson & Johnson
people,
in the county?
Yes.
Walgreens is giving.
Do they? Okay. All right.
so most of there may be a lot of people who have had the first shot who aren't going to be on that
Yes.
chart.
So you'll see that number, that
Right.
18-year and older number tick up because a lot of people have not gotten there. We have a lot of Moderna, which is a 28-day. So you'll see that 20% tick up.
Okay, Kevin, that's North Carolina chart. Now, where's Scotland County at? It been in orange or yellow?
It's in the yellow.
You found it in the yellow.
Oh,
You
it's
don't
right-
read for
right
school.
there.
It's right here, right in that bend.
We stayed in orange a long time. I never could figure out what was key. Was it the hospitalization?
We were in the red, it was the hospitalization because for a long time we were at 50 to 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look in here, because we were in 50 to 50, we were at 50 cases from November through December, and after Christmas, we went up to 80. And the way the feds look at it is because we have 33,000 people, easy math. You take the number of cases, multiplied by that 3, is that over 100? For us, it was.
I saw that state map today on the state site that there's a lot of counties, say a lot, it was 4 or 5 counties that are showing no new cases in the last
Really?
Yeah, that
4
is
days or whatever.
fantastic.
So, yeah, you have that, you have, and also, especially during Christmas and through January, middle to end of January, our hospital was half of the hospital was full because of COVID cases. Now, people were coming from from Scotland, Richmond, Robinson, Marlboro counties, because Marlboro doesn't have a hospital. We are their hospital. So, they had a vast majority of the people that were there with serious health conditions because of COVID in January. So,
Madam Chair, I have a question.
yes, sir.
Mr. Caldwell, I had the opportunity about 2 weeks ago to volunteer at a community COVID site in Hope County, where they were set up in the most needed communities where those were underserved. I did the same thing about a month ago with Cape Fear Valley in Fayetteville. Do we have any plans to taking the vaccination out into the community, particularly to those who are the most underserved, who may never come to the health department or the hospital? We've done a lot of work trying to get people to those places, partner with the hospital in particular, and have kind of run out. And I just really think we need to be trying to get the vaccination out so we can up those numbers. Do we have a plan?
Commissioner Gibson, thanks for bringing that up. And I think if you do remember, I came to you and delivered the COVID vaccine vaccination form to you, to your church. So one of the things we have been doing is to figure out how we can be able to vaccinate people who are coming to the health department and also go to the community. So we have been putting that plan, we have been figuring out how to put that into place. And so let's say, for example, like the event you were going to have, and I was planning actually for the health department to come to the church and get that event. But because the event was on the weekend, and being that the staff here are now working on the weekend, so that was kind of difficult for me to bring the staff to be able to do the vaccination to the health department. And another thing is we are looking at because we have been really working hard for the clinic to be able to open to everyone who wants the vaccine, and that has been that we have been able to get that. So everyone who wants the vaccine at 18 years and above can be able to get the vaccine. So it's kind of a little bit tricky, but we are working to be able to serve everyone, because the way I see the equity in vaccine, especially with the COVID vaccine, is I want everyone to be able to participate in the vaccination process, because the virus is not, it's a contagious virus, let me put it in this way. So it almost affects everyone, but it disproportionately affects certain type of certain group of population. So the way I look at equity is I want to give everybody the benefit of having equal access to it. But if there is a way that if we can be able to deliver the vaccine to your community, if it doesn't fall on the weekend where staff we are not working, that is something we can be able to work on. And I'm going to open to be able to do that. But we just have to work together to figure a way that is feasible for the health department, so that when staff, when we are on site, we can plan. And we are planning, and we can be able to do that. And I think I've also been working with the representative, Piers Garland, to be able to deliver the vaccine to his church as well. I just have to have the timeline where to deliver it, and if it's not on a weekend, and then we can be able to do that.
And with this also, I know the health department has also reached out to some of our, especially our larger employers, to determine demand there, seeing about the potential of setting, figuring out best ways of, getting people vaccinated. I know they're looking at, talking with other groups. So if there are specific groups that are interested in hosting events, or community organizations that want to host events, and more importantly, the thing of it is, oh, I have a place you can come use it. That's irrelevant. Can you bring 50 people who want the vaccine? Because if you can only show up with 5 people, yeah.
Location we have.
Yeah. So, and the health department has been working to reach out to other people, as has the hospital.
And then somebody may have answered this, but are we using all of the vaccines that we get?
Yes, anything we get, we have not spoiled any doses yet.
That's good.
Now, you may have heard about 11th dose or something like that. There may be a 10th and a half dose. We can't use a half dose from this bottle and a half dose from that bottle. So those we throw away, but we get 10, or we're consistently getting the 11 doses per bottle. So we're not throwing anything away. So we've done that. There have been some times because we've basically not accepted the next dose, next login, because we're still trying to get people to schedule appointments, things like that. So if we can't use it, we'd rather it go to somewhere else where there are certain areas that have a very high demand because they don't have 50%, 65% of it. So.
Good information. Again, I mean, I think we can be proud of the effort that's been made in Scotland County. So we got a ways to go. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say that we let up, but I think we're better than some and not as good as some other areas. I'm glad to see that yellow, that's for sure.
I'm so proud that Commissioner Gibson has reached out to the church community and community in general, trying to help provide access to this vaccine. And we need more like him.
And that's going to be one of the big things is getting community members, people in our faith community like Commissioner Gibson, people just who are just, in the community, who are respected to go off and say, yes, I've gotten it. Yes, it's safe. And, encourage and have those conversations. And also, even if you get questions and you don't know how to answer them, let us know what those questions are. The health department is happy to answer them for you.
But it's amazing how many people, young people, old people, will come and tell you, no, I am not taking the vaccine. And you sit and you talk to them, but, they just hardcore on it, and it's really nothing you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so we got.
They're convinced they're gonna grow a third leg or something.
Yeah. Are you gonna
And
die,
while
drop
you hear
dead?
Some cases of, people have a reaction, that's very rare. I mean,
And you tell them, I had it, I didn't have a reaction, but it's mine.
I didn't have a reaction on either one.
I didn't either. I didn't
My
have,
arm didn't hurt.
I know.
But yeah, and I had a daughter that was sick for 2 days, and she's 30 years younger than I am. So there's no logic that flows through this.
I have.
Now, I get sick when I take a flu shot, not sick, but,
But there was a difference in the vaccine that she
I
had.
could tell I had my second shot.
You could tell.
Yeah, I had a headache and I just didn't have any energy the next day, but I was fine.
Your energy was a big thing with it, yeah.
Well, COVID's gonna be with us a while, that is for sure, but I think the effort is being made here and we'll just continue to stay updated. All right, Kevin, you ready for your report?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell, thank you for the report tonight, and we look forward to hearing from you next month.
Thank you.
Okay.
Couple of things. First of all, the American Rescue Plan, this was the last stimulus recovery plan passed by the federal government. There is a direct payment to local governments. So counties and municipalities will get a direct payment from the federal government. And right now, basically in your packet, the bill that's in there, I think, is 28 pages long. And I put in there everything that related to the county highlighted in your packet, all, I believe, 6 lines of it. So from that, we are waiting on the Department of Treasury to come out with the guidance on exactly what that's going to mean. The one thing that is in legislation is basically the funds will have to be spent by 12/31/2024, so we have some time. It is in COVID response to either the disease or the economic impacts from the disease, or infrastructure, meaning water, sewer, and broadband. When the Department of Treasury comes out with additional guidance, they're gonna dump a notebook of guidance on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend that until I knew what all it was.
But I am so glad that broadband is a part of that. Aren't you? I mean, that is wonderful.
That's critical. I agree.
Well, it's been talked about for how many years? now,
Yes,
but Nobody's
yes.
doing anything. really.
Anything, right.
Yeah.
This is the first real money, right, Calvin,
Yes.
that we can put, I know we got to go by the guideline, but this is the first real money that we can put in that project.
You're right.
It is.
So, and if you are curious why I'm not putting, amounts or anything on here, it's only because if I put amounts on here, people, I can spend that for you.
Well, I
Until
think
we
we've
get the rules.
heard the possible amounts and all that, but
Yeah.
like I said, the planning that right now would be, so you're never telling what's gonna be.
I know.
Exactly. And and also Treasury may easily change the amounts.
Can it?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
depending on how they interpret what the bill is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So,
it might be 12/24 before we're able to spend.
Yeah.
I just hope it's simple enough that we can use the money to, reach the needs of the people, the needs of the community. I'm just hoping,
Right.
especially for Waverly Board.
So. Communication tower, this is just information from Verizon for the construction of it. Also, I am going to recommend that the board set a budget workshop date towards the end of April, either dates I've just recommended, April 22nd, 26th, or 28th. So I think that's a Thursday, Monday, or Wednesday.
Anything's fine with me but the 22nd.
I think that
What,
I gotta look at my calendar, because I got a heavy schedule. That's the last weekend.
That's
That's the last week in April.
and not the 22nd. The next one is.
The 26th is the last Monday in April.
are you talking like 9 to 2?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. I can do the 26th,
I can't do the 26th.
so, I mean, I can cancel some stuff.
I can't do the 22nd. 26th will be hard for me. I can do the 28th.
I can, at this far in advance, I can do the 28th because I can reschedule something on that day, yeah.
I'm just gonna have
Tim,
to call
Dave,
Jason
Terrence, are
tomorrow. I
y'all-
forgot.
I'm fine with that. 22nd is the only date I can't do it. So.
But you can do the 28th.
Commissioner Gibson?
I can make the 28th work. Yes, sir. Thanks for asking.
Thanks,
I
sir.
said, what time it was, Carol?
Nah, okay.
9 to what?
Probably 12.
Here,
Yes, we would just meet here.
Clarence, you just, with you,
Appointments in Loma.
I don't have my schedule.
well, and your schedule changes with what's going on. 28 works for me better than the other two.
That was easy enough, yeah, okay.
I have to call Jason in the morning. I just did not, I should have it on my phone, but I don't. My daughter's fussing me by not putting it on my phone. But I don't have it.
So at the end of this meeting, we'll just recess until the 28th at 9 o'clock in the morning here. Also, we will have the May Commissioners meeting back at the EOC. And right now, the AV upgrades are scheduled for installation the week of the 26th, April 26th at the EOC. So hopefully at the May meeting, we will be using the new equipment.
I wish we could try it out before we have a meeting.
We'll be testing it
Okay,
as
okay,
it's in there, so.
all right.
The other thing that I did not put in the agenda, and some of this has been in the plan and development, but we didn't know how it was gonna happen. Our current, who's in a payroll technician position, we would like to reclass to an accounting position. They are completing their finance officer course. And they, at this point in time last year, we didn't even know if that course was going to happen. So that's why we didn't do it. But they would qualify for the accounting one position. This is a person who is already in position. They just meet the criteria for the next higher grade or for a higher grade. And it falls in line with some restructuring and some professional development that Beth Hobbs has been doing in finance for the last couple of years. The pay differential can be absorbed inside of the current administrative budget, current finance budget.
Tell me what the qualifications for accountant one is.
With this one, basically, they're going from the technician 4, which is more procedural based processing, with this, they'll be actually completing this course. They'll be eligible to sit for the finance officer certification. So this person is already has a degree. And with
In
this,
what?
accounting.
Okay.
They already have a four-year degree in accounting.
So we're actually, I think a good way to look at it is that we're better utilizing the skills and strength of our current personnel in
Yes,
the finance department. It's not a vacant position.
Well, you say when a person had a degree, that to me, it makes a difference. Already, I didn't know where that person was a high school graduate, and just worked in the office. That's what I was trying to say.
no, yeah, they already have a four-year degree, and this would basically make them set up so that ultimately, they could, at some point in time, they can qualify as a deputy finance, they could qualify as a finance officer
Okay.
after this.
All right, so this is a reclass, so this does require action by the board. What's the pleasure?
Well, I'm gonna move that we approve the
So you motion.
update.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
We have a second. Any other questions or discussion?
And just curious, how much money are we talking about?
It was about $3,500 for the remainder of this fiscal year.
That's
It's-
including
It's
salary
a
and-
$3,500 difference for the next 3 months.
Salary and fringe, yes.
So for the next year, it would be 10,000.
Yes.
Substantial increase, isn't it?
How do we do that, Kevin? How do we change that question?
This position has not been changed in a number of years.
And if you don't mind, and I just, what would the salary move to?
45.
And how long's this person, where will this person fall? I don't want to know who it is. Where would the person fall on the timeline?
What do you mean by
Timeline
time?
meaning how,
I mean, how long's he been with the county? I mean, or how,
3 years.
so he's still real early pay scale on the steps.
Most of finance, they've not moved up in pay scales significantly.
How many people on her staff?
6 total.
There's 6 people working in finance office.
But really, we had
Plus
we
the
have a
finance
degree,
officer.
we have a degreed individual that's just about finished with training to become a deputy in a payroll technician position.
Is that this person?
Yes. Currently, we have one other accounting position there, one other accountant position. This would make the second accountant position.
To get, Kevin, to get to that point here, you got to be degreed.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. It should be, you earn your way.
Yeah.
To raise.
I don't have any other questions.
So do we have a motion?
You have a motion and a second.
Okay, all right. And all questions answered? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Kevin, is that the end of your report?
That is the end of my report.
Okay. And lastly, we have Commissioner News. I'll start with you, Ms. Dalton.
I don't have any. I'm just thankful for the health director's report that we're doing. We finally got the red zone and we're now in the yellow zone, so I feel like hollering and screaming, being thankful.
Commissioner Iden, anything?
I hate to go back and bring something up, but I think Tim mentioned it, and I think it's we've got two members of the ABC board who are still operating. And Tim would officially take his seat as of May 1.
Yeah, whatever day.
Whatever that is. And so they're gonna have a May meeting with Tim and those two.
They haven't met in April yet.
Are they gonna meet next?
They
They're
meet
meeting
tomorrow.
next week, or tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
I just
yeah.
looked at them.
Yeah.
Okay, but they've got a chairman.
They've got they have a
Till
full
tomorrow.
board and a
Till tomorrow.
chairman for their
So-
meeting tomorrow,
But after that, they will be without a chairman for the May meeting.
and they will have 2 vacancies.
And they'll have 2 vacancies.
Right.
And I kind of hesitate to nominate anybody to be the chairman when we've got 2 people who aren't even appointed yet.
Right.
But what I'd like to suggest, and I talked to Larry McGill today,
Uh-huh.
and I'd like to suggest that we appoint him as the acting chairman, temporary chairman, for the purpose of the May meeting. And then we can make a different decision or the same decision.
That's what I was saying earlier. If we did that, there wouldn't be a chairman for the May meeting.
Yeah, so I think
It's a good point, okay,
that's
So-
what, yeah, that's all.
okay.
I'm
you
on
wanna make a
slide. Too many
motion
levels.
there. Yeah,
So I
you're-
guess my motion would be is that we appoint Larry McGill as the acting chairman of the ABC board.
In the event of Bob Davis's resignation.
If, you're right,
Right, because-
if what we anticipate to occur and Bob resigns and there's not a chairman, then
Through the May meeting.
through the May meeting.
Through the
All
May.
right. We have a motion, have a second? Second. Everybody clear on that? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Opposed, like sign.
I apologize for not doing that an hour ago.
Okay. All right, Mr. Gibson, you still with us, Reverend Gibson?
I am, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm still here. The only concern I had was not seeing anything on the agenda about us perhaps looking into meeting at the city building or the school board, but I'll wait and let's see what this AV equipment looks like at our May meeting, and then we can move forward.
Okay, all right. We're all anxious to see what this AV equipment's gonna do for us. That's a good point. Okay. All right, then I will entertain a motion for recess.
So moved.
All right, we are in recess until
You gotta have a second.
April the 20. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
But I need to go.